Imagine this. Expecting a slam dunk, Reebok tosses all its eggs into Angel Reese, but instead they get the Titanic of sneaker launches. The noise level of the hype machine was higher than that of a library marching band. At the Olympics, however, the shoe drop flopped more forcefully than a belly flop. Executives at Reebok are now perspiring through their shirts, wondering if they just provided funding for the priciest clearance rack item in the world. Hold on tight. The funniest part of calamity is about to happen. You mentioned angel wings? Wings of angels. Hey, I believe we now have the official selections. Regarding that Heat Angel wore yesterday, Reach has formally provided us with information. Officially, these will be called the Me Bounds, and I'm not upset about that. However, they were able to send some over with the T in them. I understand. Ignore those white ones. I need 2 of these pairs. One for my younger sister and one for myself. I had the opportunity to ensure she was clean on the court. However, it's rumored that the upper is modeled after angel wings. That's why Claire Reebok believed they had hit gold. They eventually discovered their alleged savior, Angel Reese, after years of slipping into the background while Adidas and Nike outperformed them. The Bayou Barbie, who exudes the confidence of someone who believes they can sell ice to a polar bear and the charisma of a reality TV star. Reebok placed a large wager, so large that you would imagine the introduction of this shoe will stop the world's inflation. There was more drama in the marketing campaign than in a Telnala. You have to show the W some affection, sweetie. It takes a lot of aura, dude, to go ahead and debut your signature shoe on a 2K cover. The fact that she is on 2K was another issue that many people were griping about. However, it seems to me that many of those individuals once more failed to grasp the concept. I've also been saying for a while that she's the greatest player in the sky. You can see if you really pay attention. Additionally, she was compared to Rodman by many. She always had the vision, so that was awful. She was also always quite good at scoring. We are witnessing the realization of that. For her, this week has been fantastic. However, I will declare that I will also rebound for 7 consecutive doubles. She appears in every billboard, advertisement, and stage production. Everything is altered by this. This wasn't just a shoe, as Instagram photos made clear. A revolution took place. A cultural reset, a sneaker apocalypse. The problem with revolutions, however, is this. They are only effective if people do show up. This drop flopped like a fish out of water rather than taking over the sneaker market. Like they had unlocked the lost Ark of the Covenant. Reebok talked it up. However, the response from sneakerheads and casual fans was more along the lines of, "This is it." There's a video of you trying to put your shoe back after losing it. In-game, the bucket is visited by a guard. The guard is pushed by you. The fire cliff is quite intense. You look at the guard and think, get that the out of there. Was the check worth it? It was worthwhile. Yes, I believe the game was really tight, so it was worth it. The contest was close, and if I had took that, we might have lost that game in the playoffs. She didn't want to wait, so I said to the referee, hold on 1 second. 1 second. That's what it was then. Hey, that one would have made your Nines idols extremely proud. The sneakers resembled something you might purchase on sale in the rear of a budget sporting goods store rather than a sleek, revolutionary performance sneaker. Adjacent to the dusty Crocs rack from the previous season. In July, reviews were scorching as a jalapeno, but not in the same manner as Reebok. Hoped, price, style, and comfort complaints catch on like wildfire. There were memes everywhere. The sneakers weren't designed for the court, someone joked. They were designed for drills involving punishment. All right, there it is. Someone went ahead and disclosed the Angel Reese's wines and they got fired. Yes, they did read them. They were leaked by a child named Kenneth. That's his name. Kenneth is a boy. However, I have to admit that they resemble the Reebok engineers quite a little, which I can appreciate. Some terrible boys were touched out by her. Yes, this is what I want for that shoe. I enjoy it. However, these are difficult now. I'm not sure why she stated that she preferred wearing her shoes with pants. She want them worn like everybody wear Jordans. I thought, well, I think the white won't work. The white and black won't work. The purple-black won't work, but the pink ones might work. I can picture everyone tossing some loose-fitting Caros or simply 4/4-length Caros. And the timing was terrible. Credibility, performance, and influence are what drive the sneaker market. And Reebok, through their hole, looked into a single basket and found that there was a huge hole in the bottom of it. Instead of being the next Air Jordan moment, it turned into the next cautionary tale of corporate desperation. This was a humiliating faceplant, not just a little slip-up. Executives at Reebok had to see their product, which they believed would usher in a new era for the company, become the subject of memes. From the boardroom, you could just hear the sound of frantic breathing, as though someone had just, let's be fair for a moment, even if they knew they had mortgaged their future on a PowerPoint slide that read, "Jens loves Angel Reese." Angel Reese wasn't chosen by Reebok by chance. Their assessment of her star power was accurate. They were utterly mistaken to believe that sneakers are sold solely by celebrity endorsements. Because sneakerheads aren't simply purchasing personality when they queue up for a new release. They're purchasing history, performance, and credibility. They are adhering to a culture that expects more than gaudy advertising slogans. Reebok fell into quicksand at that point. In relation to Angel Reese, we are examining the Reebok Engine A today, which is the same version in which Angel Reese made his debut. These retailed for $120 when they were launched on February 13th. Playing with this energy return system, also known as ERS technology, felt like a terrific support system. On foot, they're incredibly soft. With all due respect to Reebok, I must admit that I was pleasantly surprised by how springy the cushioning felt. Here, the outsole is made of dark gray, transparent rubber. I like that when you first dig your fingers into it, it's a little sticky. The launch was a complete mess that was passed off as excitement. Flashy advertising, over-the-top Instagram campaigns, endorsements from influencers who probably didn't know the difference between a free throw and a layup. It all screamed manufactured. Everything shouted decision in the boardroom. The fans, on the other hand, saw through it. Rather than being excited, people were literally making fun of the shoe before it had a chance to gain traction. According to some, the design appeared to have been taken from a 2007 time capsule. Others claimed that the shoe resembled something that might be purchased at Polly's using a 2-for-1 coupon. The claimed game-changing design didn't inspire awe, it inspired mockery. Allen Iverson was their most recent major hit in the early 2000s. Even while those shoes were iconic, a $150 pair isn't sold by nostalgia alone. Sneaker in 2025. The so-called revolution had already been dismissed as a farce by the time the shoes really appeared in stores. Instead of selling out in minutes, units were lying on shelves quietly gathering dust while sneaker websites joyfully published headlines about Reebok's latest failure. It became a comedy of blunders instead of a daring return. This type of error prompts business schools to produce whole case studies with the heading, "How Not to Relaunch a Brand." Hello, Angel. I rock with you. However, Angel Reese is discussing something similar to how everyone wears Jordans. The Andrew Reese ones should be worn everywhere, in my opinion. Who wears them everywhere is unknown to me. However, she added that Reebok has returned. Everywhere, people will be sporting Reeboks, wearing Reebok, but they're the ones that Angel Reese wears off the court. I'm not sure. I understand. These are legitimate in court. They appear nice. They do. I can't call those Angel Reese ones. I can't treat Arthur Reeves disrespectfully. Bro, the Angel Reese ones do appear to be legitimate. Although the Angel Wing design is cool, I'm not sure how they'll look with pants. Panic struck quickly. Leaders who, instead of popping champagne, they were downing Pepto-Bismol. Now, marketing teams boasting of next-level consumer interaction were scrambling to provide an explanation for the catastrophe. You could drive a semi-truck through the gap that existed between the hoopla they generated and the actual rejection of their products. Though not in the way they had hoped, Reebok managed to generate headlines. Rather than revolutionizing the sneaker game, Reebok has experienced a humiliating failure. After placing a large wager on Angel Reese, the internet had a bloody odor, and once the memes start going viral in 2025, there's no turning back. It's a combination of poor planning, poor execution, and a business that was so focused on remaining current that they overlooked the most crucial sneaker culture guideline. Authenticity cannot be fabricated, and that's just where the humor in this story begins. Because the more you dissect this catastrophe, the more it becomes clear that Reebok never had a thorough understanding of the market they were attempting to dominate. The amusing thing about sneaker culture is that even Wall Street wouldn't get how cruel it is. According to black and white sports reporters, the unmatched 3x3 Women's Basketball League begins today. And I know that many of you are quite delighted. Angel Reese's return to a basketball court. I was looking at the schedule, you know. The entire broadcast lasts for almost an hour. Is that what I should remove from the schedule? I don't understand. Since they have back-to-back games that start on the same network exactly an hour apart, they will play the entire game, the entire broadcast, and everything else. At least you'll find someone to buy at the bottom if stocks plummet. Sneakers. You're done if the audience thinks you're cheesy. Uncool does not have a bailout package. And when Angel Reese's shoes hit the market like a wet sponge, Reebok just realized that. Because fans didn't simply reject the sneaker, they hated the entire notion behind it. You see, marketing basketball shoes involves more than just selling rubber, cloth, and a few dubious color schemes. Performance is what you're selling. You're selling credibility. You're giving a child on the playground the opportunity to feel like the next Caitlin Clark, Kobe, or even Jordan. However, such vibe wasn't conveyed by Angel Reese's sneaker. Let's be honest. Angel Reese is a media magnet, talented, and fearless. Her story in basketball, however, is still being written. She isn't as well known as LeBron or Steph Curry, who can sell sneakers with their mere presence. She hasn't reached the point where children are imitating her dances and aspiring to wear her number in playgrounds. Rather than the peak, she is toward the start of her adventure. Reebok just released a player-only colorway of their new basketball shoe, which was specially created by Angel Reese and features her new logo. And they may be right about this. This new basketball sneaker from Reebok, which I think looks great, is named the Engine A. It costs $120, comes in a variety of colors, and is already being worn by some of Reebok's best athletes. This pair now has an angel motif. Reebok's choice is even more bizarre because it's like putting a rookie on the cover of a video game before they've played a full season. Reese's new logo on the tongue, which was only released a few days ago, serves as a teaser for her first signature shoe with the company, which is anticipated to release early next year. Sure, ambitious. Astute? Not even close. That was the point at which Reebok's plan failed. They believed that sales could be driven solely by personality. Additionally, despite Angel Reese's depressing disposition, sneaker culture is based on evidence rather than just personality. Evidence of the shoe's functionality and the athlete's ability to wear it. Evidence that individuals wish to identify with the narrative that underlies it. Jordan's first shoe did not make him a Nike icon. By dominating the league and creating a mythos, Jordan deserved it. They decided to go all in on one huge drop rather than laying the foundation, developing a smaller line, testing the market, and generating hype through scarcity. The dealer flipped the cards and revealed that Reebok was holding a 7 and a 2, but not before they pushed all of their chips into the middle of the table and declared to the public, "This is it, folks, our big comeback." Angel Reese desired a $1,000 price tag for her distinctive sneakers. Yes, I did say that. $1,000. The best part isn't that. In their right mind, they paid $1,000 for a Reebok from Reebok. I have sympathy for those in the back. Understand your value, but also recognize your shortcomings. Furthermore, man, it's not $1,000 for no goddamn Reebok. LeBron James is the best person you have to accomplish it. In any case, this generation, and most likely yours as well, his sneakers aren't even worth $1,000. Offsuit. The sneaker and the athlete weren't the only errors made by Reebok. The audience was misunderstood. Storytelling, not advertising jargon, is what makes sneaker culture grow. When Nike discontinues, a shoe has a history, a legacy, and a distinct relationship between the product and the athlete. Adidas associates a shoe with a cultural icon or a performance. They affix theirs to a prayer and a hope. Reebok AI was a manifestation of culture. His shoes were more than just shoes. They represented supremacy on the court, street style, and revolt. Rather, the response was more along the lines of, Nike, but cool? Dropping next week? It's like attempting to use nursery rhymes to compete in a rap battle. It's not because they despise you that the audience jeers. You arrived unprepared, so they booed. Additionally, Reebok was as ill-prepared as a student who had missed all of their classes and was attempting to wing a presentation. More hues have started to appear since Angel Reese's first trademark sneaker was formally shown. Furthermore, it is astonishing that over 6 months before the Reebok Angel Reese one is out, people are already getting excited about it. Released, while her followers are fiercely defending her while they wait to grab a pair of shoes, the hate-mongers are already having a field day. This is for a reason. The consequences were immediate. The sneakers received harsh criticism on social media. They were likened by memes to the orthopedic shoes your grandmother might wear on bingo night. Reviews criticized the entire atmosphere, comfort, and design. The only paid influencers who appeared as excited as someone being made to smile in a hostage film were advocating for the shoe. The final nail in the coffin was the price tag. Reebok set their prices as though the sneakers were already well known, as though consumers would be willing to spend a lot of money on a sneaker with no history, fanfare, or aesthetic appeal. After examining the cost and the shoe, the customers collectively concluded, you must be kidding. If you want to charge premium pricing, you'd better bring high-end merchandise. Reebok brought an award for participation. It doesn't operate that way. It never worked that way. Reebok ended up photocopying someone else's assignment and doing it poorly rather than writing a new chapter. Without investing in Nike's decades of work, they aspired to be Nike. They desired rookie-level credibility and Jordan-level effect. When sneaker culture first emerged, they intended it to bend the knee, refuses to bow to those who have not merited it. Your signature shoe drops as 6 consecutive double-doubles hoop on the court. Angel is in her bag. Huh? She has Angel in her luggage. For those who are unaware, Angel Reese gave fans a preview of her signature sneaker, which will be released very soon. In other words, she is currently the 4th active WNBA player to wear a trademark shoe, the 2nd woman to ever own a signature Reebok sneaker, I guess. Doing her largest one, then. Therefore, it wasn't simply one shoe that flopped. It had to do with the exposure of Reebok. Exposed for failing to comprehend the market. Exposed for believing that hype could take the place of tradition. Criticized for thinking that a gaudy promotion could hide a subpar product. They're now in a bind because it's very hard to win them back once sneaker culture believes you're a joke. The shoes can be discounted. You can include free merchandise. Influencers can even be paid to continue acting as though they adore it. But you know the truth in your heart. This footwear is more than a failure. It represents Reebok's desperate situation. The sales figures were as flat as a steamroller on pancake. The shelves remained stocked. The stock levels on the internet were not changing. And shops' refusal to order any more pairs was the only indication that the stock was sold out. The boardroom abruptly took on the appearance of a live-action comic sketch. Imagine a team of suits desperately trying to think of methods to save a product that no one wants. It's likely that someone proposed cutting pricing before realizing that doing so makes a shoe appear even more embarrassing. Cooperation with Gucci, Louis, and those guys. We cannot afford to pay $1,000 for no rep-ops. Jordans aren't even worth that much. Perhaps she was in charge of this play. I'm going to assume the best about her. They were attempting to strike a 40B across the head. You understand what I mean when they say, hey man, we suggested $40 per pair. After negotiations, her strategizing, and promoting her brand, they settled on $150. Every time they give her the 40, she says, shit, I'ma aim for a band, so they can then give me what I want. A regular shoe price around $150. $150, $200. That's what she was striving for, so I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. Because I'm a strategic person, I examine this, but it's insane. Dust would have been gathering on their shoes. It was also a moment of awkwardness for Angel Reese. Her shoe was being cooked more fiercely than a Thanksgiving turkey, but her star power remained. Here, the larger picture is almost tragically humorous. The enormous discrepancy between Reebok's perception and what the market knows was made clear by this failure. After years of being irrelevant, they believed they could waltz back into the game and act like royalty. Rather, they were reminded of the brutality of sneaker culture. Legacy is important. Performance is important. Genuineness is important. And without those, Nike and Adidas make money while you're just another brand howling into thin air. Angel Reese is going to get well. She has too great of a career not to. However, Reebok has made the world aware of the reason they have been hiding in the shadows. The joke is self-evident. Reebok introduced more than just sneakers. Disguised as shoes, they debuted a comedy special. Despite her dominance on the court, Angel Reese plays junior varsity basketball off the court. Additionally, unless Reebok discovers a way to prevent tripping over its own laces, it will not just fail.